Hey everybody, so let's talk today about adopting a spirit. This came up because of my last trip where I went to Phoenix, Arizona. I stayed outside in the deserts of Phoenix around the mountains. And when I was on that trip, a lot of things happened that you can see in a longer video after this one about the extent of my experience with dragons and unicorns and gods and all this other stuff. But one of the biggest things is when I got there and I started building a relationship with the land, I started giving offerings to the land. Uh, a dragon called me out to the mountain. I was camping beside a mountain and told me to go to a very specific location. And it was like, go over here and you'll find treasure. If you go over here, you will find treasure. So I hiked some of the mountains, not that specific area right away. And then I started hiking that area that they told me to go to. And sure enough, I found crystals, like a big patch of crystals just laying on the ground from erosion and time and that sort of thing. And some of them you've seen on my Instagram stories, and I'll have pictures to go along with this. The pictures do a bit more justice because you can see more of the detail than when I show them to you here in a second. But some of these crystals were serpentine crystals, kind of like this. And on the video, it just kind of looks like a rock. But in the sunlight, you can tell that's just one solid patch of crystal structure there. You can even see a very clear crystal right there, very shiny and that sort of thing. But these I found the second day. So I go up and I'm collecting these crystals off the ground. Some of them just look like rocks with a crystal embedded in it. And the dragons are telling me they're for you, they're to give to others on the journey and to sell them. And now my thing is I don't like selling crystals, especially the ones that I find. Normally I go out, they show me different things. I even found some raw copper and stuff this time around, and I didn't take it with me. I left it because I usually take it back to camp. I look at it, I'm like, oh, this is really interesting, and then I leave it to the earth because it's of the earth and that sort of thing. But they were adamant, no, you need to take these, you need to take these, you need to take these. This happened one other time. Years ago in 2021, I believe. It was my first trip to New Mexico. It's the book The Raven's Way is based on that entire trip. There's a 300 page book that's just about that trip that I have. And at the end of the trip, or near the end of it, I was waiting. I was in the desert giving offerings, saying goodbye, and a gnome came up and was like, "Before you leave, you have to follow me." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You have to follow me. I have something for you." And I went, "Okay." And he runs off into the distance. And there's a little very like creek with a little bit of water in it. I mean, this is desert, so there's nothing around. This is like no juniper trees, no bushes of any kind, just sand and stone and rock, nothing else really. So there's a real tiny trickle of a creek moving through. And I go down and I follow him and I do exactly what he says. He says, every time you cross the creek, and you had to sometimes jump over the water and onto like the cliff sides that were in the canyon it was creating and go back and forth in order to hike through this canyon. Every time you cross over, drop one drop of honey into the water as an offering. So I did that and I walked down this creek and continued following him, and he told me where to turn. There were a couple places where the creek kind of forked and that sort of thing. And I go up into the desert sands even more. And at the end of it, I find a patch of sand. And this is the type of sand that is like beach sand almost, very fine, very, you can't even pick it up, very small grains. And the whole area is not that. The area is sandstone that's been eroded down, quartz crystal, all this other stuff, but it's not this beach sand type of thing. And in the beach sand, I find these. These are some sort of crystal. I don't know still to date what they are. If anybody out there knows, please let me know. But I find these and they tell me fill my bag with them. And the spirit of the land is telling me to fill your bag with them. We want you to give them to people. I'm like, okay. So I fill my bag. And I didn't take as many as they wanted me to take. They were like, take more, take more. I was like, no, 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 I don't want to take too much, and that sort of thing. They're like, okay. So I started giving these out at conventions. When I was going to conventions, if you bought a book, you probably have one of these for me. And to people who didn't buy books and stuff, if they were connected to fairies, I was just giving them for free. That became kind of an energy drain because I had to buy, packaging supplies and plastic containers because these are delicate. So foam, plastic containers. I was doing all this stuff to give these away for free, and it was kind of draining my energy. And then now that I'm much more public with what I do, it's harder to do that type of thing and just give stuff for free. So this time around, the spirits knew my hesitation. I was on the mountain and I'm talking to the dragons. I'm like, look, I don't want to take these back with me. Like, they're beautiful. I love collecting when I'm out there. I love looking at them, taking them back to camp and just looking at them. And then I usually take them back closer to where I found them and drop them beneath a tree or something and leave them there. They were adamant, no, take these. These are for a project that we have for you. I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with them? Because the other thing is I don't feel comfortable selling something that was given to me for free. So we talked, we went through these. You've seen me, many of you have seen me posting pictures. I keep finding dragon heads in a lot of these pieces that I wasn't even aware. They were just like, pick that one up. I intuitively pick it up, put it in my bag, pick this one up, pick that one up. Some of them have dragon heads in them. Some of them are dragon eggs, like these. They actually look like eggs formed, and that was only where these ones were only found on the side the mother dragon was on. There was a masculine on another part of the mountain, and when you started walking over to his side of the mountain, they were more broken and shards and that sort of thing. But when you were on her side, I was finding a lot more of these eggs. I didn't find many. I only found about 20 that were actually this egg form. Although they keep calling the other geode-like ones, like here's kind of a geode-y one that's broken open a little, and you can see the crystals inside. They keep calling them eggs too because the energy is the same, but I think it's pretty cool that some of them are actual eggs, and she showed me them rolling them. So that second day, she led me up to another location after I was starting to find them, and they kept saying you'll find treasure. And then this was the day that I found most of these crystals. I was walking up the mountain. I had not seen a lizard the entire time, which I've been to Arizona, New Mexico area tons of times over the past few years, and I always see lizards everywhere. This trip, I hadn't seen a single lizard for like a week. And then this day that I walk up the mountain, the second day that I do this activity with them, there are lizards everywhere. And the thing about lizards with me is when there's a lizard, there's a dragon around. It's not just a lizard. The lizards are there telling me there is a dragon or there is a spirit around saying hello. They're animals that they use to communicate with me in that way. And so I know when I'm near dragon energy because the lizards just start appearing out of nowhere. And this happened. They kept saying, you're going to find treasure. You're going to find all kinds of crystals up there. And I go up, and sure enough, this second location that they were like, okay, now go over to this ridge and go up there. That's where I found the most beautiful pieces. Right off the bat, I found, if you saw the one that there's, and I don't have it. Where's it at? One second. So that's where I found this one. This one that looks like almost a dragon head and tail in the stone. It was the first one I found that day, or like maybe a second one. One of the first ones I found anyway, within the pile that they took me to. And then I just started finding these eggs everywhere, finding geodes, all this stuff. And I went, okay, what do I do with this? They're like, just take it home. So I go home, and I have a lot of dragon encounters that came from that experience. And again, that's in the longer video. But I go home with hundreds of these little dragon energies in the car and other energies. Some of these crystals are not tied to dragons. 3 or 4 of them are tied to unicorns. A couple of them are inner earth, and that's all I know. I haven't gotten much more on them other than that they just keep saying inner earth, inner earth. And I know there's some fairy stones and stuff like that. And then I also still have some of the stones from my first trip where the gnome gave me fairy connection stones and tied to fairy spirits. So we do this and we have this experience. I come home and I'm like, okay, well, what do I do? Because I can't give out all these for free, pay the shipping, all that. Like it's too much of an energy drain. As much as I want to give them away for free, it's too much of an energy drain. I'm also not a geologist. I'm not a geologist, meaning I don't know what half of these are. I am pretty sure this is serpentine. I'm pretty sure these geodes and stuff are serpentine crystals. I'm not positive. So there's no way for me to say, you know, hey, this is worth X, Y, Z. And of course, some of them, if you've seen some of the ones I've been posting, they look like dragon heads, which if I was a crystal shop, that increases the value and that sort of thing, like the look and feel and that. The thing about these is these are raw, unprocessed, all natural, found by me, my energy, guided by my guides directly to their source. I wasn't digging around. I didn't go out with that intention. I was going on a hike. I went on a hike. I just wanted to meet spirits and hike and have fun. And they go, here you go, because I'm offering to the land and doing this stuff. So these aren't for a regular collector, essentially. And that's one thing I wanted to avoid. And I went, okay, well, how do I get these to awake people who are going to appreciate the value of what these bring, not as a crystal, but as energy, as a being? And so we came up with Adopt a Spirit. Now, Adopt a Spirit is this service I'm now offering where you're not paying for any of these crystals other than shipping. There'll be a shipping charge that kind of includes the weight so that I can ship them. But you're paying for a spirit art reading, which is exactly what I'm meant to be doing, is these spirit art readings. So when you adopt a spirit, I will intuitively pick from the collection of crystals that they've given me in stones one of these, and then I will do a reading on a 4x6 sheet of paper. It will either be a light code or a normal spirit art reading or a combination of both. I don't know, won't know until we sit down to do that reading for that specific stone and that specific energy that is tied to it. Then they will give a message of what they are looking for and in helping you and how they can help you. Try to get a name, you know, if they're a dragon, if they're a, you know, fairy, gnome, whatever they are, get you some different information about the being that is connected to them. And then I will send that to you. So you'll get a spirit art reading and you'll get an intuitively picked crystal along with it. So if you're interested in adopting a spirit, again, this is an excellent way to connect with another being, to bring another being into your life that is ready for you. And that's part of why I'm going to intuitively pick them. There are some pieces that will be available with specific set prices by spirit because they are like the dragon heads. I know people are like, oh, that's really cool. Like there are these eggs, there's 20 of those. So there'll probably be an option for the eggs if you feel more inclined towards that. And then there'll be some different options to allow you, if you feel strongly intuitively inclined towards a specific piece that has more of a special nature, like it's a dragon head or some nature of that you'll be able to choose that if you wish. Otherwise, those will probably stay in my private collection other than the regular eggs and geodes and stuff. So this is a great opportunity to bring in energy in your life that you're vibrationally ready for. Again, that's why I'm intuitively picking those. So if you're ready for a specific dragon, they're going to guide me to the one for you. These are gifted by a dragon. For anything from Arizona is gifted by a dragon. A couple of them were gifted by unicorns. Very few, very, very few, and I cannot guarantee those are even going to go out. I know how people love unicorns and want to connect with them, but I still don't even know how I'm going to get those out to people, if it's going to be intuitive or some other method, but they are in the collection. There are fairy ones. There are these ones you might end up with, which are connected to gnomes, and people who have used them have specifically felt them and been like, wow, there's a lot of energy in there, and they helps them with the fairies around their home, around the area they're in. It increases that energy. So again, if you're interested in supporting the work I do, supporting the efforts in connecting people to other realms, this is a great way to do it, where you get a spirit art reading, so you get some energetic activations from me, and you get a gift from the dragons, the fairies, whoever it might be, that can also be used as like a totem, a tool, a physical representation of those energies that are coming to you. So thank you everybody for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. The full experience will be in more detail on YouTube soon, and just thank you for your support. Any support you can give is gratefully welcomed, whether you purchase an adoption, a spirit art reading, or just sharing this content and these videos and pictures on social media. Grateful for each and every one of you, and love you all.